Hello, and it's I, Master X, and you're watching the Magnificent Channel. Today's topic, we're discussing the top 5 best business rivalries of the 90s. And these are my opinions, and my opinions only. If you have some of your own, go make your own video and talk about it. Number 5, the Format Wars, DVD versus VHS. Long before the DVD existed, VHS was the #1 home video outlet. It actually defeated Betamax and Laserdisc. So what you got left? I mean, until DVD came to town in the late 90s, say about 96/97. Well, the thing is, DVD was far more superior than VHS. And this war raged on to the late 90s and 2000s, with VHS barely to keep itself sane. So around the end of the 2000s, the VHS was pronounced dead. Next, number 4, the Cartoon Wars, Cartoon Network versus Nickelodeon. In the 1990s, Nickelodeon was the king of cartoons, and also being the first cartoon channel for kids. So, on October 1st, 1992, Cartoon Network was born. And Cartoon Network was so much better than Nickelodeon. Nice. And also this. Around the 90s and 2000s, Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon was locked in a huge rivalry for the children's attention. This kind of phased out in the mid to late 2000s after Cartoon Network became live action. Nickelodeon became more live action. Cartoon Network made CN real, but Nickelodeon just couldn't stand a chance. So, I believe Nickelodeon just gave up. They gave up. So Cartoon Network, I believe, in my opinion, won that war. Number 3, the Monday Night Wars, the WWF versus WCW. In the early 90s, on January 11th, 1993, Monday Night Raw first aired on USA. Meanwhile, down south, WCW was kicking up in there by getting all the wrestlers that made the WWE, or WWF in this case, the top promotion in the 80s. On September 4th, 1995, WCW created Nitro. Here's the thing. This is how they were. The thing was, they would sitting down and say, hey, how we can compete with Vince McMahon in the WWF? We just go make something, make Nitro, and put it on the same time slot as Raw, but on a different channel, which is TNT. So, this war raged on for many years. So, around 1996, WCW was kind of kicking WWF's ass. So, and well into 1997, many of its top stars just jumped ship to down south. But this changed in 1998 when Stone Cold Steve Austin feuded with Mr. McMahon in the WWF. This caused Raw to become better than WCW at this point. And WCW, ever since, WCW just couldn't handle it. So, in 2001, the Monday Night Wars concluded. Number 2, the East Coast and West Coast rivalry. East Coast rappers versus West Coast rappers. In the mid-1990s, the East Coast and West Coast, two different camps, two different places. So now things are, one rapper named Tim Dog made a song called Fuck Compton. This angered a lot of people from Compton, including Dr. Dre and a few others. So around this time, Dr. Dre made Fuck with Dre Day. Not only he dissed former bandmate Eazy-E, he also dissed Tim Dog and some guy named Luke. Now, by 1994, running into 1995, the war was beginning. The West Coast rappers were getting sick and tired of getting no recognition in the East Coast, mostly New York, so they made a song called New York, New York, which Snoop Dogg and Dogg Pound made. Around 1996, Tupac and Biggie was locked in, they joined the war. Tupac dissed Biggie. Biggie didn't want no part of it. But on September 7, 1996, Tupac was gunned down in Las Vegas. I was going to say Los Angeles, I'm sorry. But Las Vegas. And died a week later. The Smalls died 6 months later, on March 9, 1997 in Los Angeles. So, around this time, the wars concluded and everybody went on with their lives. And number 1, the console wars. Nintendo versus Sega. In the 80s, Nintendo became the top dog of video games. Sega, getting sick and tired of Nintendo kicking their ass every time, made the Sega Genesis, which was better than the NES and soon become better than the Super Nintendo. The Super Nintendo was made in 1991 to compete with the Sega Genesis. So around this time, and this escalated. Sega won a few years, Nintendo won a few years. Sega won from 1991 to 1993. Nintendo won from 1994 to 1996. Around the 32-bit era, which the PlayStation Sega Saturn was taking its place, the wars concluded. And the Super Nintendo Sega Genesis was well into obscurity till both consoles was discontinued in 1999. What do you think? Like, comment, like, subscribe, do whatever. Making my own stuff later on. I'm gonna make my trying to make some trying to make something like make the puppet show video later, like in a future video. So in the meantime, and until that happens, this is Master X signing off. See you later.